Welcome back to the Home Bee channel and our Beyond the Basics series. Today, we are diving into an absolutely incredible tool for any serious beekeeper, the double screen board. Let's get right into it.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with what this thing is. It's also known as a Snelgrove board, by the way. Then we'll get into the cool science behind it, how it plays with heat and pheromones. After that, the main event, a step-by-step on how to do a vertical split. We'll also touch on some other advanced tricks and finish up with a quick summary of the best practices.
Okay, let's kick things off by really looking at the board itself. We need to understand its design to see why it's so darn effective.
So at first glance, it looks pretty simple, right? It's basically just a plywood frame sandwiched between two wire screens. But the absolute genius here is what's called the critical gap. This little space is everything. It's designed so that the bees on top and the bees on the bottom can't physically touch each other. And hey, a little pro tip for you. If you're going to build one, use HDO plywood. It'll last you forever.
All right, now for the fun part. To really get why this board is a game changer, we have to dive into the science. It's this amazing dance between heat and biology.
This is where things get really cool. Think of it like a one-way filter. The board is designed to let one thing through, heat, while completely stopping another, the queen's pheromones. It's a brilliant bit of hive manipulation.
And here's how it works. You've got all this wonderful heat rising from that strong colony down below, keeping the bees on top nice and toasty. But remember that critical gap? It's stopping the queen's "I'm here" pheromones from getting through. So the top box is basically tricked. They feel the warmth, they feel secure, but they're thinking, wait a minute, where's the queen? And that right there is the trigger that makes them start raising a new one.
Okay, so we know the science, but how do we actually use it? Let's get into the board's #1 superpower, the vertical split. This is how you can create a whole new colony, right on top of the old one. No extra hive bodies needed at first. It's amazing.
First things first, you can't do this with a weak hive. You need a strong, booming colony. A good rule of thumb is the 6-frame rule. You need enough bees to cover at least 6 frames in both the top and bottom boxes after you split them. And timing? Timing is everything. You want to do this either right after a big honey flow or just as they're thinking about swarming. That's the sweet spot.
Okay, step 1, and this is non-negotiable. You've got to find the queen and make sure she's in the bottom box. If you're lucky and you can spot her, great. Just move that frame down. But, sometimes she's a master of disguise. So, if you can't find her, there's the Excluder Method. You just shake all the bees down into the bottom box, pop a queen excluder on top, and give it a day. The workers will go back up to tend to the brood, but the queen, she's stuck downstairs, right where you want her.
So now you've got your queen downstairs. The next step is setting up your stack. Here's the ideal configuration. Queen and all the open brood, that's your eggs and young larvae, stay in the bottom. Then you put the double screen board on. Above the board, you put the frames with the capped brood and plenty of food. This setup is just perfect. The capped brood just needs to stay warm, and they get all that heat from below. Meanwhile, the queen has plenty of space to keep laying downstairs. Everybody's happy.
All right, step 3 is all about creating the perfect team for our new queenless colony. This is another stroke of genius. The board has its own little entrance. When you open it, you create something called the drift effect. Here's what happens. The older, more experienced forager bees fly out of that new top entrance to go do their thing. But when they come back, their internal GPS sends them right back to the main original entrance at the bottom. So what does that leave you with up top? A whole bunch of young, gentle nurse bees. And who are the absolute best bees for raising a brand new queen? You guessed it, the nurse bees.
So vertical splits are amazing, but this board is not a one-trick pony, not at all. Let's look at a couple of other really advanced ways you can use it, specifically for swarm control and getting through the winter.
Okay, swarm management. We've all been there. You open the hive and you see those dreaded swarm cells. Your first thought is probably to just scrape them off, right? Well, hold on. With the double screen board, you can do something much smarter. Just take those frames with the swarm cells and move them up above the screen. To the bees, it's like they've already swarmed. It satisfies that biological urge. But the best part? Your entire workforce is still there in one stack, bringing in nectar. And you've got about a 75% chance of getting a new mated queen out of the deal. Win-win.
Now, let's talk about winter. This is where the board can be a literal lifesaver. Imagine you have a small nucleus colony, a nuke. On its own, it might struggle to survive the cold. But what if you could put it on top of a big, strong colony? That's exactly what this board lets you do. The big hive below becomes a heat battery, like a radiator, constantly sending warmth up to the little colony on top. This dramatically boosts their chances of survival. It's an incredible way to overwinter smaller colonies.
Okay, we've gone through a lot. Let's wrap this up by summarizing the most important points you need to remember to make this work.
All right, here are your keys to success. Number 1, use good, durable HDO plywood. It's worth it. Number 2, make sure you have that physical separation. That critical gap is non-negotiable. And number 3, always use that rising heat to your advantage. But, the absolute best thing about this whole method is the built-in failsafe. Let's say the split doesn't work out. The top colony just doesn't raise a queen. What do? You just pull the board out. The 2 colonies merge back together peacefully. No harm, no foul. You haven't lost a single bee or any resources. There's literally no downside to trying.
So, when you boil it all down, why does this matter so much? It comes down to one word: control. This one simple piece of wood and wire gives you incredible control. You can create your own hive increases without buying new bees. That's efficiency. You're using the bees' own biology to your advantage, and you get to stop swarms in their tracks while keeping the honey flowing. It really is a game changer. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the double screen board. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Home Bee channel. We're all about helping beekeepers like you succeed, and hopefully this gives you the know-how to give this amazing tool a try. If you got something out of this, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. It really helps our community grow and lets us keep making content to help save more bees. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.